Hi, I'm Carrie Stein, executive producer of the PBS show To the Contrary, and I'm here with Erin Matson, co-founder of Repro Action, right? That's the organization, right?
Repro Action, yep.
Repro Action, and it's a day of celebration for you, Erin. This morning, the Supreme Court came down with its decision about the Texas law restricting access to abortion clinics, and in a 5-3 ruling, it struck down that Texas law. What does that mean?
Oh, this is a seismic decision. It's the most important abortion access case in a generation, and we won all of it today in front of the Supreme Court. So there were two different provisions to the law that were challenged, and both were struck down. One was requiring abortion clinics to essentially be like mini hospitals and have millions of dollars of medically unnecessary renovations that force them to close. And the court said there's no medical justification for those. They're out. Then the other provision requires doctors to have admitting privileges at nearby hospitals, which again is totally medically unnecessary and was tossed out. What's important is there's laws like this all over the country. And so we can expect that, in the coming days, weeks, and months, there's going to be a lot more action in the courts.
So when you say there's going to be a lot more action, what are you saying? There's going to be more decisions at a more local level, striking down those kinds of provisions and those kinds of laws in different states?
Exactly. We can expect that there will be mountains of litigation coming from abortion access advocates around the country looking at laws that have forced abortion clinics to close that are identical to these provisions that occurred in Texas.
When I spoke with a co-panelist of yours earlier today, Genevieve Wood, with the Daily Signal, which is part of the Heritage Foundation, she said that this is really bad for women, and this was all about safety. And that was the argument. Was that argument sort of turned on its head?
Yeah, that argument is simply not factual. The opponents of abortion said that they were motivated by women's health and safety, that they wanted to improve women's health and make women more safe. Well, in fact, it's been demonstrated that restrictions on abortion make abortion less safe, not more safe, right? When a woman can't easily access abortion in a medical facility in her neighborhood or community. And that's exactly what the decision did. My organization, Repro Action, did a campaign called Who is Closing Abortion Clinics, which is just at whoisclosingabortionclinics.org, in which we looked at all 34 of the amicus briefs submitted to the Supreme Court by people who were saying they were motivated by women's health and safety. And let me just tell you, it's ridiculous. When you have people who have been trying to bomb abortion clinics and served 2 years in prison actually for that, arguing now that they want to make abortion more safe. I mean, it's very clear that this isn't really what they were trying to do. If you want to make abortion more safe, then perhaps that side should call off the pro-life violence instead.
One of the things that made this a really interesting decision is that Justice Kennedy actually joined ranks with the liberal judges, which sort of means that even if there was a Scalia on the court at this point, that this was going to get struck down anyway.
Exactly. This is a legitimate decision. It is an important decision, and it is a decision that's on the right side of history. And so any naysaying and saying that, this happened because of an unusual situation on the court because we only have 8 justices right now, it simply doesn't carry any water.
What do you think it'll do for the political campaigns? How will it activate both sides?
Yeah, I think, we've got a huge victory and momentum on the side of abortion rights and women's rights. And I was really excited to see that Hillary Clinton tweeted out her support for abortion and used the word abortion today expressing her support for the case. You know, the thing is, when you look at the polls of what people in this country, regardless of how they feel about abortion, what they want a woman's abortion experience to be like, they do want a woman who has decided to have an abortion to have access to a clinic. They do want her to be able to access that clinic without unnecessary legal barriers. They do want her to not be shamed or stigmatized. They do want her to be supported. And so I think, you know, certainly this will be a hot topic in the campaign, and you'll hear a lot of chatter from all sides. And yet at the same time, when we look at the American people and what they want exactly what happened in the Supreme Court today.
You're very happy you haven't had a big win for a long time. Is that correct?
Oh, that's absolutely true. I mean, we've got hundreds, over 320 state laws, more than that, have been passed since 2011, restricting access to abortion. And so that's something that people should be mindful of. Yes, this is a huge victory today, and we should savor it, and we should be happy about it, and know that this long march toward justice will win, and we will have wins on the way there. But at the same time, you know, let's celebrate today and roll up our sleeves tomorrow, because we've got a crisis in access to abortion in this country, and it's going to be a long, hard fight.
Is there an actual tomorrow next step that you're looking at?
In terms of, so for us over at Repro Action, one of the things we're going to be doing with the Who is Closing Abortion Clinics campaign is we expect that there will be a lot of chatter in the coming few weeks. And so we're going to be monitoring specifically statements that are untrue and unfactual and shining a light on why those are not true.
Has
so,
Donald Trump actually made a statement? Has he tweeted anything out?
You know, it's funny you ask that question. I don't follow Donald Trump. I may be the only person in America who doesn't think he's worth of, or excuse me, not the only person in America. I'm one of many people in America, but Donald Trump seems to think that we all just sit around waiting for him to say something. He's an egomaniac, and he's obsessed with himself. I'm not sure what he'll say. I mean, he's got a tenuous relationship at best with pro-life leadership, because he is all over the map and totally unpredictable. It's clear that he's in it for himself. At the same time, he said horrible things about what types of justices he would appoint or nominate to the court. And so, you know, we'll see what he says. He certainly has every incentive to try to make himself, ingratiate himself with that community.
Well, I know that I was on the call earlier with the many organizations that have been fighting this law, the Texas law as well as the other laws in other states, and they said that they were elated and that it's a landmark decision. It's the most important decision in 2 decades.
It's absolutely true. And, you know, I live in Virginia, and I've been working for years on Virginia's abortion clinic closure law. And as someone who has several times joined a line at 3:30 in the morning outside in the freezing cold in Richmond to get into the Board of Health meetings with the opponents trying to make sure that they could lock us out of speaking slots. This actually just feels great today to have this vindication from the Supreme Court when we've had such a long, tough road on restrictions like this around the country.
Well, we congratulate you on the win that you've had, and we look forward to actually doing more on this issue, onto the contrary, real soon. So
awesome.
Thanks very much for joining us now.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thanks. You too. Bye-bye.